we'll go ahead and get started. We're really glad that you're here joining us for the July edition of the Northwest Gas Association webinar. We're getting an update from the Partnership for Energy Progress, and I'll ask Leanne and Ramsay to introduce themselves briefly and a little bit of their background before as they get started. But the other thing I wanted to do, as we always do, is remind you of our upcoming webinars. We're taking a break in August, and it's, you know, we may want to contemplate the same in July in future years. It's just hard to get people online in the summer months, so we always take a break in August, and then in September we'll return with a really great report by One Future. One Future is a coalition of, I think, 40 or so industry participants, from producers of natural gas to gatherers and processors and transporters and distributors of natural gas from the top to the bottom. That is all comes together, and they've set goals about how they achieve methane emissions in their operations. They've exceeded those goals in all of the 3 years that they've been doing this, but we'll hear more from them about their 2020 methane emissions report in September. So we hope you'll join us for that. Stay tuned for registration details. And then finally, just a reminder to you all that you're going to be muted throughout. We ask you to use the chat function to ask questions. And as you know, I moderate those questions, and as questions come in from the crowd, I'll interrupt Ramsay or Leanne and ask your questions on your behalf, and they'll be happy to answer them in that way. Also, we're recording this webinar, so know that, and know that you can also access it later through our YouTube channel, which you can find on our website again. And if you want, we can also make the slides available, but we encourage you to look at that YouTube channel and feel free to forward that recording of this webinar forward. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn this over to Ramsay, who's going to kick us off thank you, Ramsay and Leanne, for joining us today and providing us with an update on the vital work of the Partnership for Energy Progress.
Thank you, Dan, for having us. We're really excited. I'm Ramsay Cox. I am an account manager at Quinn Thomas, and we were hired to help manage this coalition called the Partnership for Energy Progress. I'm originally from Washington State, in the Bothell-Everett area, but now I reside in Portland. So that is a little bit about me, and I'll turn it over to Leanne to introduce herself and then kick off the presentation.
Thank you, Ramsay. My name is Leanne Geyer. I am the Legislative Affairs person for Local 32 Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, as well as the president for Partnership for Energy Progress. I spent 15 years in the field as a pipe fitter and have spent the last 8 years in our office working on legislative affairs for both local and state governments. So work on a lot of policy, and lately my total focus has been the natural gas arena for probably about the last 3 years. And so we're very excited that you have tuned in to join with us this morning, or this afternoon, I guess, and that we can tell you who we are and what we are about. So go ahead, the next one.
There we go.
Thank you. So this presentation will be a brief overview of who we are and how we came together. And we're going to try to keep this brief so that we'll allow for opportunity for questions at the end. We're very proud of this coalition and how we came together, and very excited about the work that has taken place and the work that we're going to be doing in the future. So this coalition came together with a common goal. There's been so much negative noise out there, and we wanted to make sure that we were presenting a positive and informative image of what natural gas is, so that the consumers could feel comfortable and confident using natural gas. And as we know, natural gas is a daily part of our everyday lives, and a part of a clean energy future. So our objective, again, like I said, as you know, natural gas plays a role in many different forms in our daily lives. And our objective is to maintain that high level of support that natural gas enjoys among the Pacific Northwest, you know, the reliability and the affordability of natural gas. So our coalition membership, we are 60 members and growing, and 13 of those members come from industry, including the Coalition for Renewable Natural Gas and Natural Gas Vehicles of America. As we continue moving through our meeting different people and working with different organizations, we keep finding more and more people that support our mission and how wide-reaching this is. The 22 labor organizations, including both Washington and Oregon building trades, there are so many different sectors, the building trades that work in this arena. So that it's very labor intensive, and a lot of the careers are built in the natural gas arena. And then of course we know that the farm bureaus and other agricultural organizations, this, you know, natural gas is a vital role for them, and they have become a real reliable resource for us when we're talking about renewable natural gas as well in both Washington and Oregon. And then we also have about 18 different Washington, Oregon-based small and large business groups that have joined on to our coalition. Again, all of us having the same goals and the same mission. And this page right here, you'll find on our website, and this is who we are. These are the people that have joined our organization, they're partners, they're supporting our coalition, and how supporting natural gas and seeing natural gas as a part of a clean energy future with a balanced approach, how it affects them and their businesses and how important it is to them. And with that, I think I'll turn it over to Ramsay for the next part of our presentation.
Thanks, Leanne. So we have all of these partners in both Oregon and Washington, and we really needed to execute a few key strategies to achieve our goals. The first strategy was to educate audiences through direct engagement, which is advertising, mostly digital, but we also have some cable and other ways of reaching Oregonians and Washingtonians. And we want to, as Leanne said, make sure that they know that it's okay and you should use natural gas. It's very popular, and there's a reason for that. And with new technological advancements, it's also helping make sure that we're addressing climate change and, you know, producing that clean energy future. And then the second strategy is building that broad coalition and continuing to grow that list of 60 plus people because we need them to be our spokespeople and help drive that public conversation. So whether it's writing blog posts or testimonials or op-eds, we need to make sure that folks hear from labor, from manufacturing, from agriculture, from hospitality, all of these people who need natural gas to do their jobs and couldn't do them without natural gas. So I'll go into some of the coalition activity from last year and then go into kind of what we've transitioned to in 2021 as well. So this whole process started at the very beginning of 2020. So we were doing research and designing ads and getting things ready to launch. And our original launch date was actually going to be that first week of April. And as we all know, that was the week where we all had to quarantine and stay at home, and our worlds changed significantly. So we tapped the brakes to make sure that it was still going to be an appropriate time to launch a coalition and that our messaging would still resonate with the new normal that we were all facing. So we adjusted the launch date to May 11th, and we were very lucky that we had kind of picked two messaging tracks. One was Here for You, which really talked about the reliability and the affordability of natural gas. And then we had another that we were going to launch that was more about advancing a clean energy future. And that got more technical about the new science and how we were going to be able to help address climate change with some of the existing natural gas infrastructure. So Quinn Thomas is always very deeply rooted in research in most of our decision making. And so we did a survey in April just to make sure that we would still be on track with one of our messages. So we found that 75% of people still wanted to see advertisements. It was encouraging to them that the economy was going to continue to move. And so we knew that we could still launch this coalition. And then we also asked people about what tone they wanted to hear in their advertisements, and support and empathy were by far the highest. So we really thought we could stick with Here For You and still resonate with people and meet them where they were at. So here's just a sample, a couple of our digital ads, some banners, some print that we did last year. And again, we're talking to people who are spending a lot more time at home. So you'll see that reflected in these imageries of people being in their houses, being comfortable, baking bread for the first time, things like that, by using their natural gas ovens and stoves. And then I'll show, this is a longer video that lives on our website that really just kind of explains to people who we are and what we're about.
In our vast and bountiful Northwest, alive with beauty, thriving on innovation, you'll find a collective spirit energized by progress and dedicated to you. Here, you'll find a new kind of partnership, a collaboration of utilities, farmers, workers, and businesses across Oregon and Washington, all working together to support the reliable and affordable natural gas foundation our region's clean energy future can depend on.
To say that I love cooking for you is an understatement. Natural gas allows me to bring incredible meals to a lot of people. It's reliable, affordable, safe, and for me, there's never been a better way to cook than natural gas.
We're the Partnership for Energy Progress, providers and consumers of safe, reliable, and affordable natural gas. And we've come together as we move toward adding more renewables.
It's exciting to be a part of the renewable natural gas movement. Innovation that's already here and happening. It's changing how we do business, and it's providing for our family's future.
Our partnership is here for you, leveraging our relationships with foresters, farmers, and local governments throughout the Northwest to deliver more renewable natural gas to your homes and businesses. Renewable natural gas is our energy future that is happening right now through capturing methane from organic materials like wood, food, and other waste. We convert emissions into renewable natural gas, a clean energy source.
We're putting renewable natural gas into our existing natural gas system.
Natural gas has driven our region's success in reducing emissions and provides the reliable energy source necessary to expand wind, solar, and tomorrow's new solutions.
We love the comfort and warmth of natural gas in our home.
The future of clean energy is here for you. Learn how at pepnw.org.
So we've taken that and spliced it up into a few different versions so that we have a 30-second cable spot, which uses some of these assets, and then also some 15 seconds as well that we use for both cable and digital online videos. So a summary of those first few months of the end of last year. We were able to double our membership, which was fantastic. When we launched, we had 30 members, and at the end of the year, we had closer to 60. Our paid advertisements ended up reaching getting 136 million impressions in both states. All of our digital performed at twice the national average, so we know our message is really resonating with people. And then the popularity of natural gas remains high. When we redid some polling, we found that there was increased support and people were using the exact same adjectives as us to describe why they like natural gas. It's reliable, it's clean, it's safe, and it's affordable. So now that we're in the new year, we decided that we could start introducing that secondary messaging, which was advancing clean energy. And it's really about making sure that people know that we can change what's in the existing infrastructure. This isn't an electrification debate, it's a decarbonization debate. And so making sure that people know that these utilities and workers are developing green hydrogen and renewable natural gas, and that same infrastructure can eventually be used to deliver those cleaner energies. And so we also will continue to develop coalition and get more members throughout this year as well. This is just an example of an infographic that we've created to kind of help explain the science behind how renewable hydrogen works. And then we also decided to do a second video that helped kind of explain some of that a little bit more, since it's a little more technical.
In the drive to eliminate carbon emissions, our region's fight against climate change should rely on our existing natural gas infrastructure to deliver reliable energy solutions. Let us show you how. With 75,000 miles of efficient, safe, and reliable natural gas infrastructure in Washington and Oregon, we're recognized as one of the most modern energy systems in the world. And it is our natural gas system that provides the critical foundation to advance renewable and hydrogen solutions that will dramatically decrease our climate impact. With recent advancements in technology, waste from farms, wastewater treatment plants, and landfills are being turned into clean, renewable natural gas that lowers emissions, much like wind and solar energy. This turns methane from organic waste into a powerful climate solution. Renewable hydrogen can be produced with electricity from excess wind, solar, and hydro energy that would otherwise go to waste, and then be distributed via existing natural gas infrastructure. Renewable hydrogen acts like battery storage for excess power, capturing the energy and storing it for when the wind isn't blowing and the sun isn't shining. Europe, Canada, and the Biden administration are all investing in renewable hydrogen. There are even emerging hydrogen partnerships right here in the Northwest. By using our existing Northwest natural gas infrastructure, we'll continue to deliver reliable, clean energy. Learn more about our partnership, our successes, and our ongoing efforts toward a Northwest clean energy future at pepnw.org.
So here's just another example of pointing out that we need this existing infrastructure, that this solution to the problem is not to get rid of this. It is to, again, decarbonize the pipeline rather than get rid of it entirely. And here's just another example or two of some of the display and digital ads with that new messaging and imagery as well. And so we really utilize our website. Obviously, with digital advertising, you're pointing people back to the Partnership for Energy Progress website, which is pepnw.org. And we continuously put new content up there in our data and resource section so that when people are returning to the site, they're learning new information, or they're hearing about a different worker that they would have never thought. We have a blog post and testimonial up there about how we wouldn't have toilet paper if it wasn't for natural gas, things that people don't think about. Or also we have our hop growers who are members as well, and you wouldn't have that beer if it wasn't for natural gas. So making sure that people know that this is a much larger industry than you might just think on the surface, and making sure that we're sharing those assets through social media. So we have a Twitter account, we have Facebook, we have LinkedIn, and then you can find those 2 videos I shared and more on our YouTube page as well. And we really try and encourage our membership to share those assets on their own channels as well, because it's really about communicating and getting the word out that natural gas can be part of our clean energy future, as Leanne said. Oh, you're on mute, Leanne.
There you go. Thank you. So thank you, Ramsay, very much. I appreciate that. And as you're aware that, climate change is important to all of us. And as technology continues to advance, we still see natural gas as playing a role in that advancement and being a vital piece of the clean energy future. We talk about taking a balanced approach, and that's what we're going to need to do. And we do not want to stifle innovation as well. So decarbonization is a term that we use quite a bit to remind folks that there is still a role to play. Natural gas has a role to play and is vital as we move forward with a clean energy future. And so with that, I think we could open it up to questions, Dan.
Yeah, if there's any questions, please type them into the chat function, and I'll go ahead and read them off. One question is if this is from Avista, if Avista wanted to use this information and messaging in its integrated resource plan, would it be possible to get the stats and/or surveys?
So as part of our coalition, we have various committees. And so yes, there are representatives from Avista who do have access to some of this information. And so we have a campaign steering committee, we have a coalition development and fundraising committee. We also have our executive cabinet committee, which again, Leanne is the president, and there is a representative from Avista on that committee. So we can connect offline, and I can make sure that information is getting to the right people. But we do have several Avista representatives who are part of those committees and have that data, that polling.
And if I could add too to that, Ramsay, with our creativity committee, you know, the creative committee, if there are folks on this call that have ideas or hear different ways that the messaging would resonate with folks, kind of something that we haven't quite thought of or we haven't touched on yet, we're open to hearing those ideas as well.
Definitely. If anybody wants to participate, we are always in search of testimonials and blog authors. So please let us know if you want to help.
So Leanne, I have a question for you, maybe a personal question, and then to kind of translate it. So you're a pipe fitter, right?
I am.
Journeyman pipe fitter. And how many people in the UA Washington State work on the gas system?
So we have over 8,000 members in the United Association of Plumbers and Pipe Fitters in Washington State. And I would say 90% of them touch natural gas in one way or another, because it's heating, it's cooling, it's cooking, and then also the energy sources for a lot of different components that we do. So it doesn't matter if I'm a pipe fitter or a plumber, that we do work on these. Our HVAC service guys work with natural gas. So there's just about every member of our organization touches natural gas in one way or another.
And can you just reference some of the other labor groups that are part of the coalition? So LIUNA and others. I mean,
sure. So LIUNA, known as the laborers, they do a lot of work. There are a lot of support work for us and for pipe laying and those type of things in some areas, and as well as the operators. They're very engaged with this coalition as well. And as you can imagine, the operators, they operate a lot of the heavy equipment that are on the job sites or different areas where we're working. We also have IBW, the electricians, the IBW 77, they represent gas workers as well, and the outside electrical workers. And so they have members from their coalition. We have the Teamsters, who are truck drivers, you know, that they belong to the coalition, as well as, I was thinking of somebody, the carpenters. They too are engaged, and their work is working around natural gas.
We also have some steel workers too.
Oh, yes. So Kaiser Aluminum, they heavily depend on natural gas, and the steel workers and various other entities in the steelworking industry as well.
So one question here is, can PEP help get the message out that the cost of eliminating natural gas altogether by electrifying everything would be extremely expensive, if it's even possible?
Go ahead, Ramsay.
Yeah, no, that is definitely an argument to be made. And affordability, when we initially did some of our research, affordability actually wasn't the highest priority for folks, but I would imagine that after obviously having a little bit of economic uncertainty last year, that became a much bigger factor. So yes, we work closely with Northwest Gas Association to get some figures that we can then share in blog posts and on our social media accounts about the cost, the added cost. But to be honest, one of the stronger arguments is choice. People really like their natural gas and they want to keep it as an option. So we do both.
I can share. So when there was a piece of legislation that was contemplated in Washington State in 2021 during the 2021 session, and one of the things we decided that we would go out and ask voters in a variety of legislative districts, most of them kind of Seattle-centric districts. We wanted to ask them what they thought about elements of this bill, which included, for instance, banning natural gas hookups one of the questions was, how willing would you be to pay all or some of the cost of replacing your furnace with an electric furnace to address climate change? And another question that was similar, only on water heat. And it was pretty remarkable that people weren't willing, frankly, to spend much, so they're not making a connection between eliminating natural gas and climate action, I guess. I think to address Ralph's question from my perspective, our approach to this is not necessarily to focus on how expensive it would be to electrify everything, but rather to talk about the value of utilizing an existing, modern, safe, and reliable energy delivery system that spans 128,000 miles across Idaho, Oregon, Washington, British Columbia, or for our friends from Canada, about a little over 200,000 kilometers. We talk about how the infrastructure is what's important here. The fuel that infrastructure delivers is changing and will change more as time goes on. And so we can achieve, it's not about not wanting to achieve the objectives. And I think it was Ramsay that suggested early on that one of the key messages here is we all agree with the objective of decarbonizing the economy to address climate change. How do you do that using all of the tools in your tool belt? Rather than throwing out one tool that may be real useful and purchasing a very much more expensive tool that may not have as much utility as the one you pitched. So we focus on the value of the system as it exists, rather than, and of course the cost of replacing it is a part of that message, but it's not really the central part of that message. Other questions? I guess, Leanne, I guess I'd ask, or Ramsay, any comment you'd add to that?
Well, and Dan, what I would add to that is my recent conversations that I've been having with the governor's office is equity is really becoming a point, that is coming across loud and clear as far as the equity value. And sharing with them, just like you said, the infrastructure that's already in place, that's already been paid for by taxpayers. And so to, keep those in line, and that they will be a conveyance systems for new technology, and, they need to be operated and maintained so that we do have that infrastructure available. And it's a very valuable resource. And so when you talk about, the cost, the equity piece, and making sure that, economic and social equity is looked at as well in this piece.
And I'll just jump in to clarify. So the Partnership for Energy Progress actually is not political, but obviously we have some members, Leanne and Dan, who are policy experts. And so that's how they're weighing in on that. The Partnership for Energy Progress is really just a very positive PR campaign for the most part. We really don't engage on the policy side of things. To Dan's point, we want to talk about and have a conversation with people about how we can use all of this to make progress. And frankly, that's what people want. They don't really want to hear about the barriers of cost or the barriers of technology. They want to hear we can do it and we're all working together to get there.
Yeah. Any other questions? If you have any other questions, type them into the chat function. And while you're doing that, I'll just ask Leanne and or Ramsay, any last thoughts you'd leave us with? Hoping we get another question or two, but any last thoughts you'd leave us with?
I think I'll start and then I'll let Ramsay finish. But I think one of the main things that I'm really excited about Partnership for Energy Progress is the positive messaging and allowing consumers to feel confident and, and that it's okay to use natural gas, that they can trust it. It is reliable, it is affordable, and making sure that that message resonates. And, we'd like to drown out some of the negative messaging that is out there and really present a positive, informative message.
Yeah, I would just encourage people, if you're so inclined, please go to the website and check out all of the data and resources that we have up there and share them. if you agree, that is. And because again, it's about just spreading the word, and helping us get that message out would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to help in other ways, again, reach out to us through Dan, and we're happy to put you to work on a testimonial or a blog post or an op-ed or anything else you might be willing to do.
That's
Great.
true. Get a chance, go ahead and like our Facebook page, if you would like to. And I'm assuming a lot of people on here like the YouTube channel, and our YouTube videos are really good. Subscribe to them so you'll see the new ones as they come out.
Very good. Well, thank you, Leanne and Ramsay, for your time today. And thanks, folks, for joining us. Remember to join us in September. I think the dates maybe I better look. Give me just a second here. Okay, I think it's the 16th probably. That's when we usually do these. Yeah, the 16th, when we'll hear from One Future and their 2020 emissions intensity report. Pretty important information there. As you know, methane emissions are an ongoing conversation. So we appreciate your time today. I'm going to give you a little bit of time back, and definitely appreciate Leanne and Ramsay your time, and thank you for presenting to us today. Check out pepnw.org, and if you're interested, sign up. Get the updates, and they'd love to have you join them. So thanks, everybody, and we wish you the best for the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you.